coalitions of the willing, bilateral agreements. I think, and I'm afraid, that these kind of solutions or answers to a changing situation, global situation, will not prove to be strong enough to deal with serious regional and global crises. They also seem to indicate division in the West over these issues, and also Western isolationism that will not bring us much in a possible future multipolar world. The West needs to be united on the one hand, and need to engage with others to achieve worldwide security and stability that will benefit us all. There's some positive developments. There is, I believe, a growing awareness that we need strong transatlantic relations. And this awareness has grown to an unprecedented level in France, the country that took the lead in 2003 to oppose the US and its policies vis-à-vis Iraq and against public opinion. And the traditions of his country, President Sarkozy, seemed to turn a lot of pages in the diplomatic, political and military history of France. Whether it remains rhetorics or a true shift in policies remains to be seen. I guess we have to wait for the meeting in Strasbourg-Kiel, NATO meeting in April next year. But what already can be concluded is that there is a willingness in France, as well as in Germany, and other countries to overcome past troubles and to work more closely together within NATO and with Washington. A second and probably more important positive development, at least in most Western European countries, but I also have a feeling this is the case in Poland, is a growing awareness that Europe has to invest in armed forces to deal with new threats outside Europe or at its borders, and to make it an attractive partner to the US and others to cooperate with. There is a growing willingness to invest, at least among political elites, put it that way, to invest in defense capabilities and to reform European forces into forces that are able to operate outside Europe. And this is partly a consequence of the lessons drawn in Iraq and Afghanistan. The recent crisis in Georgia also has strengthened the awareness of the need for expeditionary forces to deal with sudden crises like that in August. Unfortunately, the growing awareness that we need to invest in European forces may be seriously threatened by the third crisis, the financial crisis. At this stage, I guess it's impossible to say what impact it will have on our economies, what impact it will have on our budgets. We can only hope that it will not have an impact on that intention. Chairman, with these uncertainties brings me to a number of final remarks. Have we turned the page? Not yet. I agree with Dr. Wijk, but the future looks, I guess, more promising than the days that lie behind us. The Bush administration will come to an end, and let's be clear about it, not only in public opinion polls, but also among governments. This was not a very popular administration, to say the least. But the Bush foreign and security policies were in fact very harmful to Western unity. Think of Iraq, global war on terror, Guantanamo Bay, CIA flights, these kind of things. And we also remember, because it's referred to Poland, and trying to divide the West and European partners by stressing the difference between old Europe and new Europe was not in the interest of the United States nor NATO. So the end of the Bush administration is very much welcomed by most governments in Europe, and I guess Canada too, and seems to give way to perhaps a bit naive high hopes regarding a possible new President of the United States, Barack Obama, but also if it would be John McCain. I'd say these high hopes are perhaps a bit naive. After Georgia and after the November presidential elections, it's sure that the world will look much different than, let's say, half a year ago, at least in the eyes of many Europeans. Probably very much oversimplify the situation and perceptions if I say that we have a new enemy somehow, Russia. I'm sure we disagree on many of these issues, but Russia, I can imagine that a lot of people really have this immediate reaction that yes, this was unfinished business. We have to still count on that threat and think of it. Also in the Netherlands, not only in Poland and Baltic states, there were initial reactions in in newspaper articles where the word Ivan and all these old stereotypes of Russia popped up rather quickly. So the idea that Russia is our enemy is not only a thing that is relevant to, let's say, bordering regions. We also have a new friend, and I think we're a bit too naive about that, but there's so many high hopes that a new president will make a difference. And that's where my analysis starts to differ a bit from that of Rob de Wijk. So what do we need to do? The relevance of NATO has increased because of Georgia. And I think it's clear that for the West, NATO has gained as a joint platform for security. Also you see that in the light of sending additional troops to Afghanistan. The Poles do so, the French do so despite heavy losses. The Germans do so despite they lost a couple of days ago 2 soldiers, despite the fact that this mission is not very popular in many home countries, neither is it in the Netherlands, but the governments do send additional troops. And this brings me to my last remarks. In the late 1940s, NATO was established to deal with crises or to prevent them. It is an organization based on solidarity in case of common threats. And we should be happy that these common threats, in general, have become much less serious since the end of the Cold War. We should also realize that many of these threats will never disappear. They're unfinished threats, and they will never disappear, and the new threats will emerge. Within our territories, we will see new threats at our borders and also outside our borders. And we need each other to deal with them, and dealing with them will sometimes require us to operate beyond our borders. And although Afghanistan and Georgia are horrible nightmares to those who have fallen victim to the conflicts in these 2 countries, of course we can and we must learn from it, as well use it to strengthen the awareness that the US and Europe need each other, that NATO is our most relevant common security platform, and that Europe has to invest in its armed forces to make itself more relevant instead of remaining a military backwater. Have we turned the page? Again, not yet, but the next page is not as black as those in the last years, and I would like, as a counter-argument, to compare with the last couple of years. Much will depend not on the United States, but on Europe, not the United States. I think it's not only about American leadership, but I guess also about European responsibility to become a credible partner. And I would suggest that at the moment, given our lack of military capability, we are not, and we have to do something about it. I'll leave it there.